The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to Human Rights and Justice for All. I'm your host, Greg Malone, and I hope you're having a great day on this chilly morning here in Des Moines, Iowa. It's actually pretty nice. It's around 32 degrees. Just was speaking with a friend in Florida, and it's pretty warm down there. But I got to go ice fishing yesterday, and I bet you he didn't. So, praise. We're having a good time here. Today's show, as I pointed out on my Facebook slot and on the W4CY radio Facebook page, is on teen addiction to pornography. You say, how is human rights and justice for all an issue with teen pornography? Well, I'd just like to point out that the pornographers target teens. And the reason that they do this is because they get a revenue stream off of this. Some kids have access to credit cards and that type of thing, and so they target these ages so that they can make money. And also, we know that many predators target these children of these ages also. So this is something I feel passionate about. It's something that I have struggled with in my life. And the Lord is helping me to get free from it more and more every day, and I praise Him for it. And it just is something that is pervasive in our societies. First thing I'd like to start off with is 14 shocking pornography statistics. If you would like to call into the show today, you can do so by calling 561-623-9429. That's 561-623-9429. Especially like people who are maybe a member of the clergy who struggle with pornography, or people who have struggled with it and have found novel ways to overcome it. It would be neat to hear from you. This is not an embarrassing subject anymore so much. I mean, back when I was a kid, if you said the word sex, it was a dirty word. Now more and more it's become just part of the mainstream lifestyle of every human in the United States. That does not mean, however, that it should not be treated in a proper way. There's nothing wrong with sex inside of marriage. I have no issue with that. In fact, I thank God for it. I've been married almost 30 years now, and so I had some wonderful time. So there's nothing wrong with it. But we also need to realize that it can go into a very evil, very dark area, and that's where people find themselves trapped. So let's get into these shocking pornography statistics. You'll have to excuse my jumbling over my words here. It's just who I am. That's how I speak, and I've come to realize that. I embrace it, and it is who I am. And it was a famous radio guy told me one time that the difference between me and all the other radio commentators out there is that my mind, my intellect, what I bring to the issues, everyone has. Everybody in radio, TV, whatever media it is, all have access to the same stuff. We all have the same news. We all have the same internet access. We all have the same lifestyle or lifetime. For the most part, the same. If you grow up in America, anyway, the same experiences in America. And but what we bring to it, what I bring to it personally, from my experiences, from my side of the street, as far as looking at these things, and hopefully I'm being led by God and speaking His truth when I talk about these issues. Shocking stats. Number one is 12% of the websites on the internet are pornographic. So that's 24,644,172. And this is from the United Families International blog. So this is an actual website. So 12% of the websites on the internet are pornographic. Every second, $3,075.64 is being spent on pornography. That's $3,075.64 is being spent on pornography. That's every second. So there's just, tens of thousands in just the time it took me to say that. Also, 28,258 internet users are viewing porn right as I speak right now. So they're obviously not listening to this radio station, so I have a problem with that. A little joke there, but we also really need to realize that there are some people out there that are addicted to this thing, and it is controlling their lives. 40% or 40 million Americans are regular visitors to porn sites. Now, there's 320 million Americans, last I heard. And so 40 million of them are regular visitors to porn sites. 1 in 3 porn viewers are women. So 66% are men and 33% are women. 70% of men ages 18 to 24 visit porn sites in a typical month. Now that's a staggering statistic. 70% of men ages 18 to 24 visit porn sites in a typical month. So it's just a staggering number. And think about it. These people are looking at these porn sites. These men are looking at them and thinking that this is what normal sex is like. Well, let me give you a little clue there, young man. And when you get out into the real world, in the dating world, and you're actually meeting real live women, and you're actually looking for someone to marry at some point in time, hopefully you are, there is no woman out there that is going to meet up to the standards that you're watching on these pornographic sites. And it's called the law of diminishing returns, and we'll get into that a little bit later. In the U.S., internet porn pulls in $2.84 billion per year. The entire worldwide industry is worth $4.9 billion, which is almost $5 billion a year, is being taken in around the world. Do you know the biggest consumer country in the world that's the biggest consumer of pornography is China? Right behind them, now China's a huge nation. It has, I don't know how many billions of people living there, but right behind them is South Korea. And that kind of blows my mind because there's not many people living on South Korea. And the stats even show that the average per capita amount of money spent on pornography in South Korea is $500 and some per person per year is spent on pornography in South Korea. Then Japan's after that, and then the United States is in there somewhere also, but I don't have that stat right in front of me. 2.5 billion emails per day are pornographic. These are things that are being sent through the emails and whatnot, and it's just something that that's out there that people are allowing into their inboxes. You should be blocking that stuff and reporting people that send that type of information around because it's not correct that they do these types of things. Number 6, 25% of all search engine requests are pornography related. That's 68 million a day. 35% of all internet downloads are pornographic. Number 8, top pornographic search terms are, the number 1 is sex, the number 2 is adult dating, and the number 3 is porn. Elmhurst, Illinois, and I don't know why this is happening in Elmhurst, Illinois. Somebody needs to go there and minister and talk to the people and just really, really honest with them. And if anybody from Elmhurst, Illinois is listening to me, please give me a call. Elmhurst, Illinois is the #1 city in the U.S. to search for sex, porn, and XXX. So don't know what's going on there in Elmhurst. They are like #1 in every category for internet search sites for pornography. So I don't know what's going on in that city there. I would imagine there's some problems with the leadership of that city as well as their standards with regard to allowing legal, or not illegal, but questionable businesses within that town. Let's put it that way. Number 9, this is interesting. Utah has the nation's highest online porn subscription rate per 1,000 home broadband users. It's at 5.47. So out of every 1,000 people that have home broadband, 5.47 people in Utah have online porn subscriptions. So that's just kind of interesting given the population mix of Utah. Number 10, 34% of internet users have experienced unwanted exposures to porn either through pop-up ads, misdirected links, or emailed. Number 11, and this one's really sick, there are 116,000 searches for child pornography every day. Number 12, the average age at which a child first sees porn online is the age of 11. Now that's just a shame that is happening, and it's because of improper parental supervision or just people being ignorant of it and not really paying attention to it with their children. And there's a lot of neglect going on right now with regard to children because parents are involved in so many things that it's just amazing the amount of neglect that's going on. And they're allowing computers to raise their kids. They're allowing video games and all these things to raise their kids. Okay, there's a lot of people viewing porn online also. There's a lot of men that are viewing it online at work. 20% of men admit to it, and 13% of women admit to watching pornography online at work. So these are just some think about the lost productivity with all that going on. And I've heard some reports on some of the governmental agencies that are allowing porn to be viewed on their sites, and that is just staggering also. And that's our tax dollars at work. Hopefully that's not happening with our money, but it could very much be happening. So it's something to really think about. And finally, this is an interesting stat, and I can pretty much tell you why this stat is the way it is. First of all, the lowest day for viewing pornography on the internet is on Thanksgiving Day. And why is that? Well, I'm sure it's because a lot of people are watching football games, they're engaged in other issues, and not so much with regard to that type of thing. And also, this is really sad. The most popular day of the week for viewing pornography is Sunday. It is the highest day by far. So just that's a symptom of what's going on in our society, but it's also something that I think that can be overcome if you personally are addicted to pornography. I'm going to read a little story here about teen addiction to pornography and its growing problem. Children ages 12 to 17 are one of the largest consumer groups of online porn. Experts say this early exposure to sexually explicit video can hook kids on hardcore and often violent imagery. Shelley Lubin, and she's a former adult film actress. She created a foundation called the Pink Cross Foundation. You can find her on the internet. And if you're struggling with